All right, great. I lost my stream there for a second. See if we can get that back. All right, let's try that again. I'm not sure why my stream shut down. I don't know if I exceeded some kind of time limit or not. I have to take a look into that. But I'm going to continue on. Let's see what we have here. Let's see if I can get this chat to work. So I'm not sure if I got shut down because of timing. It was 26 minutes. I thought I could go an hour. So I'm trying another stream. See if we can get this to work. Okay. Okay, so Mars, thanks for the question. Mars asks, will the pending Electroneum patents be granted for sure or rejected? So what happens with the patent, Mars? First of all, you have the idea, you want to get it patented. You can do it yourself, hire a lawyer. Now, when they hired Dentons being one of the premier legal firms for patents, they clearly understand what they're doing. They charge lots of cash, and basically they do a lot of the pre-research. They go through all of the patents because they hire not only patent attorneys but specialists in particular fields, and so the technology specialist would be able knows what to look for. They go through the already filed patents. They bring up things that look similar. They do a review. They sit down at a big round table and discuss it to see if it's different enough so that it wouldn't bring a challenge. And when they file the patent, especially a firm like Dentons, they are really confident in being successful, okay, in the placement of that patent, that it'll be approved, because they understand what the patent office is actually looking for to make sure and that it's not duplicated. So a lot of that pre-research is done up front when you hire a company like that, and that's the reason why it took so long for them to respond and get that information back to us, and why he didn't want to tell us about it there. And it took a while. He went to the show and as it went along. So the answer to your question is, it's my belief, I would give it a 98, 99% chance of it passing from my experience and point of view, based on the law firm that they got. And this is relatively new technology, so there are not that many patents regarding it. So I'm pretty comfortable that it's going to happen there, Mars. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. All right, so let's take a look here. Rick Viper. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get caught off again at the 30-minute window. I'm not sure why I got caught off at 28 minutes. So if it happens again, I may stop and then try to look into what's causing that, or I don't know if it was just a failure on this end. So Rick, thoughts on Reddit user M system announcing schedule for tomorrow at 10. Will that be a bombshell for ETN and crypto as a whole? I don't know. You know, M System has lots of has brought to the community a lot of really sharp segments and writing for us to review. I noticed a lot of it can be of his opinion and where he thinks things will go to as it goes along. So, you know, I don't think he's going to say that it's not important if it wasn't. Will it be a bombshell? Your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know. I'm not sure if we should be expecting an explosion or not, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. So we'll see where it takes us. All right, let's take a look now. What other comments do we got? Double X. You think ETN will eventually have their own mini ASIC mining farm to upkeep the desired network speed? Okay. You know, Electroneum is in the business of making the blockchain, making sure it works, reaching out to specialist companies to add additional technologies to the Electroneum network. For example, the API, so that they can have the integration. I think Electroneum, with the staff that they have currently, it's not a big operation. It's reasonably staffed. It is a lot of effort and research and development to start going and building additional components to add to your infrastructure of your coin, and you want to have that full life cycle. You want to have the ability to get the coins, get them in there, be able to trade them and sell them, earn them, store them safely, and so there's a lot there for them to do on that alone. So no, I don't see them getting into the hardware business. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. Look at Sia Coin, for example. They're creating their own ASIC and they're going to sell them. Obviously, it's OEM from somebody that actually makes the ASIC, and they're putting their sticker on the side of the darn thing and making that happen. It's who knows, but I don't foresee them getting into the hardware business. I would be surprised by that at this point, but it's possible. We'll see what happens. All right, let's see what other we got. Anybody else has a question? He claims it to be. Oh, Rip Viper. He claims it to be. Yeah. Well, we'll have to, Rick, regarding the M Systems news that he's going to present. He claims it to be big. If he claims it to be big, I'm sure it's going to be big. I have no reason to doubt the guy. He's, he's produced a lot of good reading material in the past. We'll see if it's more of opinion and where he thinks things are going to go, or if it's a release of news. If it was a release of actual news, I would tend to think it would come from Electroneum and not a user or like you and I. It's like Electroneum coming to me and asking me to release information for them. That don't make any sense. So chances are it's information that that he's putting together that's going to be really important. We'll find out tomorrow. So it'll be exciting. We have something to look forward to at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm pretty excited to see what happens. Okay. All right. Now, if you're out there and you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat. We're testing our little chat responder here. As you can see, I have the chat system being automatically loaded in here, and so that was one of the big test pieces for today. And of course, going live for the first time. So don't expect me to be an expert at this yet. It's going to take me a couple of shows to get it down pat, and so that I know that everything's working as advertised. All right. Now, luckily, I'm still streaming, so that's a good start. All right. Let's take a look here. Now, I know all of you guys have seen, or hopefully you've been getting involved and taking a look at some of these videos that he's been releasing. That's been an awesome thing on his Facebook. Make sure you take a look at Richard's stuff. I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys this already. And his release of these little videos. You guys are on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen them come out. So that's a good thing. They're little blurps. But the big thing is I'm really excited about them seeing Richard on the screen, getting his face out there. I think that's a positive step in the right future. Let me know what you think in the chat there. Okay, so Double X. Do you think that the only U.S.-based crypto coin only get this shining light? So I'm not exactly sure I understand the question there, Double X. Only get the shining light. Okay, so, all right, now I get what you're saying. Do I think that only U.S.-based crypto coins are the only ones that get talked about and brought up? No, I don't believe that to be true. Because if you're on YouTube, you're obviously watching and you get to see a lot of good videos. You'll notice, there are tons of projects out there. A lot of Chinese coins, a lot of South Korean coins, real big stuff. There are coins, coming out of India. What else you got there? Obviously, in Europe, there's a couple of coins out of Europe, Electroneum being one of them. All of these, I think it comes down to the projects, and a lot of the coins end up paying to have their coins talked about. And they'll pay a lot of these bigger YouTubers, and so they all start chatting about it, and they get put up to the public for people to look at. And it's not, most of them really aren't anything spectacular, and they basically, by paying these guys often, they talk about it or give them some free airdrops or whatever the deal is. I don't know what exactly the deal is on all of them, but they talk about these coins, and they're pretty basic stuff. There's nothing really behind these things that is earth-shattering, groundbreaking, and there's probably 2 or 3 other projects doing the same thing. Electroneum, I think what happens is people picked on the Electroneum, and now it's fashionable for these guys to pick on it, and they don't even bother to look into what the reality is. But here's the thing. That means that people like you and I, who are paying attention, following the project with some zeal and zest, are going to know all these details, and we're able to have the coin so that when everybody else figures out the value of Electroneum, because it'll sneak up on them, and the next thing they know is that everybody's using this stuff, it'll be too late for them. And there's going to be people like you and I who saw its potential and stuck with it. I have no doubt that it's going to be around. And it really just comes down to the crypto market as a whole, how it'll turn out. All right. What else we got here? Let's take a look at some of the chat messages. Okay, Andy. What is a good amount of ETN to hold for the future? 12 months. Do you think it will surpass the previous all-time high at some point this year. Now, that all-time high was at 20 something, 25 cents possibly. Let's take a look here. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that all-time high, that green line, that put us up at the, where were we? 19-cent range, according to this. So for some reason, I thought it was 25 cents. 19 cents. So it was just shy of 20 cents. And if we look at the date on that, that was January. So clearly there was a combination of things going on there. One of them being the entire market space or crypto space was just blown out of proportion at that time. So everything was just, lobbed into space. The cow jumped over the moon type of thing. You're not going to see that until we start to see the entire market go back up, and or Electroneum has some amazing set of circumstances. For the most part, everything is going to follow Bitcoin. So if you keep an eye on Bitcoin and you see them talking about Bitcoin going up, because right now you got a lot of the smart guys who do all the technical analysis telling you, hey, it's going to hit 4,000, 5,000 for Bitcoin. The other guys are taking a look at it and feel it's going to stay at 6 and it's going to go up from there. So we don't know if it's going to continue to drop, but if it continues to drop, it's going to take the other stuff with it, and so everything is going to fluctuate with it. Now, obviously, with important news, as everything's fluctuating, Electroneum could get some news and then fluctuate up here, and that's what we want to see starting to happen, where it's fluctuating way up there, and that can only happen by getting all these users, getting more people to use Electroneum. The mass adoption of Electroneum, making it easier to get funding in there. It's great that everybody can earn it, and they may be earning it on their smartphone, collecting their 5 or 10 coins a day, but that's not going to be enough to go buy groceries with in some locations of the world. And so you have to be able to get money into it, and then that'll start to happen. Let's see here. Okay, so I hope I answered your question, Andy. Double X. Okay, people have to take their coins talked about. Okay. So John thinks it's going to pass the all-time high this year. So maybe John knows something I don't. Tell us what you're thinking, John. Why you think it's going to... put it in the chat there, because I'm curious to see what you think may cause it to break the all-time high. Is it possible? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've seen coins jump up significantly, especially when you're talking in the cents. It is possible. So I'm curious to know what John, that could cause it to go up there. As things are going along as it is right now, just getting onto new exchanges, it helps. You've got to have, we're doing what, 500,000 a day in trades, exchanges. Let's go here, markets. So volume. So today, $750,000. There's not enough volume there that's purchasing to make it go up. So tomorrow, is it going to be at an all-time high? No. Could it happen in September when these ETFs start happening? Maybe. The whole market as a whole, I think, is going to go up. So that's pretty cool. Brent, what are the benefits of using the QR code and instant payment system when compared to credit cards? What are the benefits? Using your credit card, right now, the way everything is set up in most of the technology-based countries, a credit card is extremely efficient and easy to use. You know, you pull the card out of your back pocket, you slide it, you're done. And they're basically, you know, your bank account's set up so that anybody can go and pull money out of your account. I don't know if you've noticed, you know, you look at your statement and you're like, hey, you know, who took all my money, you know, and well, what's this charge? Because anybody can go in there and just take money from your account. And that's why the credit card system, and obviously there's a lot of technology that makes it, transactions happen and all that good stuff, but it makes it simple. And everything is already pre-established and running that way. So when we start working with cryptocurrency-based solutions, is there a benefit? I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there is no plus today for an average Joe. Now, I'm not talking about you and me who sees the future, but today, the average Joe, there's no benefit whatsoever for him to have to go take his money, put it in, pay for it in advance, where his credit card, he can use his credit. He doesn't even have to have the money. Pay for it in advance, buy it, move it over to his wallet, and then find somebody to be able to QR code it. There's absolutely no advantage today for an average Joe. But that'll change. There was no advantage. You know, I've been writing software for 30 years. I was building websites in the early in the 80s, 87, 89, and they were real basic. And everybody asked me, what am I doing? Who on the planet is going to go to your website? They look you up in the yellow pages, they find what they want, and they call up whoever they need in the yellow pages. And that seems awfully silly. And at that time, it was because I was looking for those future people that were seeing what was possible in the future and where I thought it was going to go. And so that's the reason why you and I are here today, because we know eventually getting money in, being able to quickly pay for it, you know, once you have the money in, it's really easy to just go click and, you know, push in, I want to pay you this much and send it. For me and you, it's pretty simple. But for the average guy right now, it's not. But you know what? 5 years from now, everybody's going to have it. Even the phones are going to be based on blockchain, and your wallets will be right in there. And everything will be communicating through blockchain and sending money, and it'll happen. But it takes time. And that's the reason why we're in the very beginning stages, and why this whole thing is going to just grow to a point where everybody will have the ability to use this stuff. All right. Let's take a look, see what other questions. I hope I answered your question. All right, that was Brent. Jacob, have you seen WALL-E? There's a scene where the people on the ship wake up to the hollow detector. It feels electronomy. Like when Markin starts to heat up in the future. Yes, WALL-E. 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 Yeah, I love WALL-E. I thought WALL-E was great. That's one of my favorite movies. I actually got that little robot. It's the heck is the name of the thing? I have it downstairs, and it's a little robot with a little shovel, and you put it on a table and it moves around. It connects to your phone, and it picks up these cubes and moves them around, stacks it. And you can play with it, and it's jeez, I forgot what the heck is that? The little robot. Now you got me crazy. I gotta go look this up. Let's see here if it comes up. The heck is, there it is. Cosmo. This thing is the funniest thing. It reminds me of WALL-E. And I guess that's obviously now the screen changes, and it moves to different facial expressions, and the thing, freaks out when you go to touch it. It's like, it does all sorts of funny stuff. Um, this thing was a blast, but it's basically a little Wally that can pick up these little cubes. See here, yeah. See, it has these little cubes here, and it'll come out of its docking station. I got this thing to play with. I use it a little bit. I'm gonna probably give it to one of my grandkids. But this thing is pretty funny. Reminds me of Wally. I thought that was funny. All right. All right. So John, I think BTC goes on the bull run. Will it push past 25 cents? Yeah. I'm sure hoping so. I think when I'm looking forward to Bitcoin to start doing better towards the end of the year, and I think that's really possible. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and once you see these ETFs start to become mainstream, where more and more get approved, that'll make it easier for institutional investors who buy in larger scale. Like I was saying before, they actually have to hold the coins and buy them. So that means they're scooping them up. That can easily bring prices up, and Electroneum is going to go with it for the ride. So we'll have to see where this all turns out. The last time they had this giant fall, it took almost a year and a half before the prices came back up. I saw a video online. The guy was showing Facebook, and when it came out, it was at $40. It dropped down to $20, and it stayed there for a year and a half. And after the year and a half, it started to pick up, and then it skyrocketed, and it's $400 and something, I guess it is now. So you have to remember that if you take a look at Bitcoin as a whole and cryptocurrency as a whole, it's continuing to climb. It'll have its peaks and valleys, but it's on a upward projection. And it's my belief it's going to continue that way. And so if you're looking for, instant rewards next month, no, that's not going to happen. And you need to be realistic about things. That if you're buying into cryptocurrency today, you're investing it probably for a year or better. Now, if you're a professional trader and you're going to trade on these little dips and micro dips and all this other stuff, yeah, if that's your entire job and you're sitting there, watching this thing and keeping your eyes focused on it, maybe that might work. But otherwise, I don't have time to sit there and watch it, so I'm going to let it do its thing, and we'll go forward from there. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. All right, so ETN, Andy was saying that ETN ranked 40 or 50 on CoinMarketCap before the bear market, which is true. I was pretty excited about that. And that was pretty significant to be that high up there. ETN has suffered more. And I agree. They had... there's a lot of things that were happening to the Electroneum coin. There was attacks on the blockchain. There's market manipulation. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of these coins are going through the same thing, where there are people out there that find ways to manipulate, to maximize their ability to make money. And people trying to hack it or manipulate it, and it's like Jesse James. Jesse James, why do you keep robbing banks? Well, that's because that's where the money is, and it's the same thing. It's where the money is. So people are gonna twist it and pull it and pop it and find ways to shake money out of the piggy bank any way they can, and it really stresses a lot of these coins environments. And this is the reason why I think you're going to see a lot of coins fall to the wayside, and if they become so inefficient in their value, it doesn't make sense to mine it, and if people don't mine it, then the chain falls apart. And I've seen quite a few coins take a beating like that, and I think in the future you're going to see a lot of them fall to the wayside. All right. Is a dollar possible? Chaya, dollar possible in 2018, and we had just talked about that, and I am not expecting a dollar this year. No, I'm not expecting it. Is it possible? Yeah, but I'm not expecting that to happen, no. Michael, do you think Electroneum will approach USA mobile operators like Verizon soon? I sure hope so. I think, you're talking premium markets, and I think once they start to show some success with these other phone operators, and they can show, hey, put the Electroneum app, load it on when you sell the phone, and this is what happened, and these are the people that used it, and and X amount of people bought that phone because they could get Electroneum. I think once they show some success in some of these other markets, you'll have companies like Verizon and others start to knock on Electroneum's door. I'm not sure Electroneum will have to actually go find them. So, yeah, I think it's definitely possible, and it would be pretty amazing to buy the phone, and in the software pack, the Electroneum's already loaded, especially if the wallet can contain all cryptos, and you can do that payment system. So, that's definitely something to keep your eye on. All right. Let's see, we had any other questions? Let's take a look here. All right. All right, good. I think I hit all the basic questions. I am going to, if anybody else has a question, put it in now, and I'll try to answer that for you. Now, keep in mind, this is what's called a visual display of all the different coins. Let me make sure I'm not in the way here. Let me look at the big screen here. Yeah, my fat head is in the way. Let's see if I can shrink this up. And we'll move that up a little bit. Now keep in mind that Electroneum, so you're looking at, here's the value of all of Bitcoin. Obviously it's the largest of the bunch. You see Ethereum's pretty close to it. And obviously the smaller the box, the less market cap and volume of the coin. So you see Bitcoin Cash compared to Bitcoin, obviously Bitcoin. So the moral of the story is here, if I take a look, this is the Kryptonite based coins. So you can see all of Monero being the XMR. So let's zoom into this, and you can see Electroneum. This is the size of Electroneum compared to all of the other coins. So you can see that there's plenty of opportunity for Electroneum to catch up. Now obviously there are smaller ones, but you got some of these coins here that are super tiny. But on as far as Monero based code based coins, it's you figure the third largest there. So that's kind of exciting. And I'm hoping to see this gain in block size so that I can read it without having to scroll into these and zoom into this little stuff here. You see coal, These are just micro coins, these little ones here. So Electroneum's got a reasonable position. And when you take a look at the big picture, it's actually viewable. So it's got its starts going on there. Let's take a look and see if there's any last questions before we call it. All right. That's not what I wanted. Let's try that again. Okay. All right. So we did a Michael and Guyon. Excuse me if I didn't pronounce that right on you. Ranking is not the purpose for now. Once all unmined coins will be owned, then the price will rise. Okay, so it's going to be a long time before all the coins are mined, because as they're mined, it's sort of a lot of coins are mined quickly, but that it's an 80-20 rule. That 80% is mined really fast. It's that last 20% that takes a long time. So I don't know the exact date that Electroneum is going to end up. I've seen coins go from 30 to 100 years to mine all the coins. The big key that helped Bitcoin is every time it divided it in half, it made it that much harder to earn a coin. So that's why now we're mining for little fractions of a coin, and that's why I try to put as much as I can to mine that, because in another year or so, year and a half, it's gonna divide again and be half of what it is now. So, and the same thing will happen with Electroneum. So theoretically, when it's a little more sparser to get, it becomes harder. And yes, that does help for the most part, because a miner, if I'm spending $3 a day in electricity, I'd like to see $10 worth of coins. If I'm only getting $5 worth of coins, it's not as fun. And so if I'm getting half the coins, I'm not going to part with them as cheaply as I would before. And don't kid yourself, a lot of the coins, especially with like Electroneum, most of the new coins are coming out of these miners, and they get snapped up and people stuff them in their pocket. But all the creation of these coins out of thin air is happening from the miners, so they have a lot of the value of the coins. Okay. Could be 100 years. Okay, could be. ETA patent chat. Hey, Dose Music. I see you all the time. Writing comments on the website. That's pretty exciting to see you there. I'm glad you made it. We're pretty much going to be finishing up soon, but let's take a look at what you had to say. I think we talked about the patent already, so I'm not going to go back into that. M Systems announcement, we've already talked about that. I have no idea. I am not important enough to be notified in advance about any of this stuff, and I guess we'll all find out in advance what the good stuff is. And I think that was about it. Okay, so hopefully that was the last of the questions, and nobody else has anything new. I hope today was interesting. It was our first live event. I'm going to try to do more of these, and we'll have some pre-content that I'll come up with to share with you. And additionally, I like taking questions and seeing if I can answer those for you, so we'll try to do as much of that as possible. I think that's a lot of fun to be able to have that one-on-one interaction, kind of live. It kind of makes it all come together. So, keep hodling your Electroneum. Eventually, we're going to see some dollar bills out of it, and everything will work out good. So I appreciate you. Thanks for participating in my very first live event ever. Cheers.